Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
All right, we did it.
Finally done it.
We're here. It's our official first Biofriendly Podcast.
We've opened the podcast floodgates.
That's right. It begins, and from here to episode 1 million,
Yeah.
I think we'll change the planet.
People will always remember this was when the planet got cool.
This will be played in the Smithsonian one day, if I can say the damn word. This episode will be broadcast on the next satellite that they send out beyond our solar system. They will play this podcast.
That's right. That's right. So when they're trying to check out Planet X.
Yeah. And so right now, if you're listening, you're like, who are these people?
Who are these idiots?
I am Jacob Givens, and you are?
I'm Noel Carroll.
And we're in this together.
Yeah,
and
we are.
We're gonna call it the Biofriendly Podcast.
Right. We need a tagline though, right? Because
I know.
Don't follow podcasts unless you've got a really slick.
You have to have a good tagline for the merch.
Yeah.
It's for the merch.
That's the only reason we're doing this. People think we're trying to help the planet.
No. I want merch, baby.
I'm trying to sell
sustainable merch.
Sustainable t-shirts.
I mean, environmentally.
They disintegrate real quickly.
Yes.
Like you put it on in the morning, by the afternoon, it's pretty much biodegraded. But
paper t-shirts.
But they're sweet t-shirts, though. I mean, they look good in the morning anyway.
I wonder if anybody's ever tried to make a paper t-shirt, like some kind of that would go awry so fast.
Oh my
I think.
Gosh!
Just 1 ounce of sweat on that, and it would disintegrate.
Yeah,
I think probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. We need a catchphrase. We need a slogan.
Yeah.
That's what the kids talk about these days.
Right? That's what
they say. I listen to Biofriendly Planet, and that's the one that's a cool podcast.
It's cool. You're making the earth cool,
You're
man.
making the earth
cooler.
It's a cooler
planet.
A cool podcast for a cooler planet.
Yeah, it's a cooler.
Is that good?
Podcast for a cooler planet.
A podcast that is so cool.
I would like for a tagline to be as many words as possible.
Yes.
Right?
That's what they always say.
And
Advertisers always say the longer the better.
Make it long. Make it. You don't want it to be too memorable.
Yeah.
You want people to be confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure
all right.
Something along those lines, right? A podcast for a cooler,
I like the word
cooler
in there. I think.
Should we say environment or no? Is that too on the nose?
No, I think
it's a podcast for a cooler environment.
A podcast for a cooler environment. How about cool environment, cooler guys?
Ooh, I mean that's indisputable.
Right? The coolest guys ever.
Trying to make these guys cooler.
Yes.
Well, we'll figure it out.
We'll get it. We'll get there. We'll get there. By the time this launches, we will have solved this problem.
There will be a tagline.
And the journey that everyone has gone on right now will have just been witness art coming together, right?
Yeah,
They'll be like, I remember when they didn't know what it was.
Remember when before the Smithsonian.
Oh, man.
Or the
Smithsonian that I can't say, apparently. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful day here in Southern California.
It is. It's actually raining in Southern California.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a rainy day, which always means it's easy on the roads and easy to get in here today.
Oh, people are so good here at driving in the rain.
They
just crush it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
If you don't live here, that when it rains, everyone in this entire city completely forgets how to use their cars correctly, and it's just shocking. If you grow up anywhere else in the world where there's a moderate level of rain, you know to slow down, you know to be a little bit more careful. But here
people think I need to get there faster.
Because
there's rain. It's
a rainy day.
If I'm on the road, I could die.
You got to move quicker through the water.
That's right.
I have to accelerate.
Yeah. Yes, otherwise I won't be hydroplaning, and that won't have the necessary.
Absolutely, it's just L.A., the city that hydroplanes.
Hydroplanes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it makes the drives not so great, but the benefit is when it rains here, it becomes gorgeous.
Yeah, it's Scotland right now.
It's Scotland. It literally, the hills are green and it looks lush with life. I mean, it looks like we live in the Pacific Northwest right now.
Completely.
It looks amazing.
It's the way the planet should probably look.
Right. And that's what we're here to talk about, right? Is the way the planet should look and how we can.
I suppose not in the desert. I guess we need deserts.
We do need deserts, but I think.
Here, I'm saying, let's make it all the same.
Right. We here at Biofriendly Planet want to make all your deserts green.
For greener deserts.
Greener deserts. We're gonna terraform the Sahara by the time we're done. We're gonna turn it into.
Oh man. Absolutely. And both ice caps will be lush forests.
Oh, yeah. The whole planet just green.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We have lofty goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I brought us a subject that I thought we could dive in
Nice.
right away.
Okay.
Since I already mentioned Southern California, so that's where we are. Yeah. So obviously, California, we're known for kind of being the trendsetters, the ones that make those bold environmental moves.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the big moves we made were straws.
What did we do to straws?
We banned them.
Really?
Yes.
How come I still get straws when I go to McDonald's?
Because
not that I go to McDonald's.
What are you talking
so
about? We have In-N-Out Burger here. Why would you go to McDonald's?
Well, they don't have chicken sandwiches in In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, that is a very good point. Very good point. So, hey, In-N-Out, if you're listening, get a chicken sandwich. Get a chicken sandwich.
Go to In-N-Out. Get a chicken sandwich.
Go get it. So straws. So there was a bill introduced last year in California. And it went through, and it was to ban straws, but it was to ban plastic straws unless requested.
Okay.
So that means that most restaurants, and this does not include fast food or counter service restaurants.
Okay.
So, okay. I guess we didn't factor in the number one place where straws are.
Most straws.
In 2019, where everyone eats all the time and asks for a straw, a fast food restaurant or a counter restaurant. So they're just talking about fine dining, I guess.
Fine dining?
Because that's where the problem was.
And that's where people are using the most straws.
Lots of people were in white tablecloth restaurants ordering a champagne, a Moet, and they were like, could I get a straw?
If I can get a straw, please.
Straw.
Plastic.
Right? Plastic, please.
Plastic. I know you want to bring a paper one, but I'm requesting
a plastic
formally.
straw. Yeah. So apparently this bill went through. And, if you followed Twitter or anything, people made tons of jokes about bringing straws into California, how that would be like contraband. Like people would be smuggling like duffel bags full of straws, which is a hilarious image.
Yeah.
Like a guy coming in from Arizona, he gets stopped at the border, and they open his car, and just straws just
come piling out.
Just roll out the side of the van, and
Oh,
that
my
was the
God.
contraband.
It's the California straw prohibition.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he was a straw man.
He was
So, but anyway, so that happened in California, which you can still go into a place and you can still say, I'd like a straw. And the server scowls at you. Sure. And then they dig into their straw reserve, and everybody in the restaurant kind of watches you ruin the planet. Right. With your first sip.
Now, is the scowl regulated, or is that just by choice?
It's by choice.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. You get the scowl isn't regulated. Okay. There's a myriad of scowls and faces to choose from. You can do kind of like how could you, or I thought better of you.
I thought better of you is a good one.
In case you've been in there for years.
Yeah.
Like what if you were always the guy who ordered a straw,
right?
And then this law passes, and then the person looks at you and they have that look like, I thought better of you.
I thought better of you.
Yeah.
Which is really great that a person could have the same habit their entire life, but then in a day.
Yeah. Just completely.
Regulation goes, and they're your favorite checkout guy behind the counter at the In-N-Out. But yesterday was fine, but today he's just...
No, this isn't an In-N-Out, Noel. That's a fast food restaurant.
Oh, you're right.
You need to bring it back to Morton's Steakhouse. You need to take this conversation back to, think of the nicest restaurant. That's where this is going down.
Wow, so I'm at Ruth's Chris.
You're at Ruth's Chris. You're at Ruth's Chris.
I'm hanging out.
This podcast has been sponsored by Ruth's Chris.
Ruth's Chris. Fine
Ruth's
steaks.
You're there.
I'm there, and I'm talking to Armand.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Armand.
And yesterday I said, Armand, I'd love a straw. And he just brought me.
Yes, it's December 31st, 2018.
I'm having like a New Year's Eve.
It's great.
Steak.
What a dinner.
At Ruth's Chris, like I always always do. Yeah. Every year.
15 minutes to go till the ball drops, and like, you go, okay.
Armand, I'd like to get a soda pop, please, with perhaps a plastic tasty straw.
And at that moment, Armand would provide said straw
right,
with no issue.
But then, the ball drops, clock turns, and I want a second drink.
It's 2019.
And I'm saying, hey, Armand, can I get another drink? And he pulls the straw out of the cup.
Right.
Takes it to a recycling facility, obviously, because Armand is very environmentally conscious.
Absolutely.
He recycles it, and he comes back, and he gives me a paper straw.
Yes.
But I don't want a paper straw.
You don't want a paper straw because that's going to ruin your soda pop.
It's going to ruin my pop.
Yeah.
So I say to Armand, I would like a plastic straw. I have to request it now.
Yes.
And that's when I get my
That's when you get your scowl. That's when Armand can give you the look of just pure disappointment
Wow.
and shame.
Shame. I
And
feel like this is going to work. California's going to be way better for this.
Yes.
We've just solved all of the plastic problems on Earth.
So it is funny to think about, but the crazy thing is straws, but up until this point, are problematic, right? Because it's a single use piece of plastic.
Right.
Because nobody is rinsing out their straws and using them again, right?
No.
No. If you get a refill on the soda, maybe they'll leave the straw in there, but some places will bring you a whole new glass, which requires a whole new straw.
Right, particularly if you're at Morton's.
Yes, particularly at Morton's.
Yeah.
And those have a calligraphied M in the straws.
Right.
Those are hot premium.
They are really, really fine straws.
Very fine straws. The Fine Straws would be a good band name,
Oh.
by the way.
They're playing this Friday at the El Rey.
the Fine Straws. So that is a problem, obviously, because it's single use. There's nothing else. And apparently, up until this point, for decades, there's been hundreds of millions discarded every year.
Okay.
They're in the ocean. It's bad news, right?
So it's actually kind of a legit.
It's a legit
issue.
problem, and I think it's a step in the right direction. And I think that someone could argue that, okay, there's someone with a disability that needs a straw to have a beverage or things like that. And
Sure.
those kind of circumstances, I think you could say, okay, well, a paper or aluminum straw or some kind of, there has to be a replacement in order to make that work and not have to reinstate straws for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, you'd think so. But what's the issue that people have with paper straws? Is it just that they don't hold up?
I have you used a paper straw?
When I was in Australia, they had paper straws that were used, but they had like a wax coating.
They're
I
ahead
thought
of
it
the
was. I
game.
thought it was
regular,
plastic.
yeah.
But they told me it was paper, so I didn't really.
See, then
I didn't even know it was a paper straw.
You didn't
until,
know that we're getting phone calls in the studio.
goodness.
It's probably
This is ridiculous.
It's probably a live audience member wanting to call in right now and give their opinion on this straw debate. Hey, guess what? This is a podcast, so we can edit that out.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Or we can leave it in.
Or we can leave it. I think you just know that what they're dealing with here.
Look, on the Smithsonian recording, I think it's important to have the phone call.
Yeah.
The phone call is a thing that's
This
referred
is-
to in textbooks.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember the phone call in the first episode when they were in the middle of just a fascinating conversation about straws?
Titillating, mind you. So it's where were we? What the hell? Oh, you said you were
yes, I was in Australia, and I had they only have paper straws, at least in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I
love
but
how you
I
say
didn't,
that.
I didn't.
Say it again.
Melbourne,
Oh, so good.
Melbourne, mate.
Oh, so sexy.
So good, mate. So good.
I love it.
It was down there everywhere you go, they've all got the paper straws, but I feel like there was a wax
Or some kind of coating on it
that
makes
made
it seem.
I didn't really notice that it wasn't paper per se.
So I've never used that kind. I did use a paper straw that didn't have any kind of. I mean, it just tasted like paper. It like kind of stuck to your
gross.
lips as you went to it, and I was like, "This sucks."
Suddenly, I'm anti.
I have completely reversed my stance.
Let's make the environment cool later.
I want to double down and order more straws. So it wasn't very good, and immediately that was my first thought. I was like, I don't like this, but I just decided I don't need the straw. I'll just drink out of the cup.
Yeah.
It's probably clean.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're at Morton's for God's sake.
I'm at Morton's for God's sakes. It's got to be a clean cup.
Right.
But I think that this obviously Australia is ahead of the curve and has paper straws that have some kind of texture that makes it not that noticeable.
Yeah.
You didn't even know until somebody told
Not
you.
really,
So that's
yeah.
the kind of thing I think that we need in the United States.
Yeah.
But you know who says no to that?
Who says no to that?
Florida.
What?
Florida.
What have they done?
Okay. So this article from The Guardian,
Yeah.
the headline says, Florida bill would ban plastic straw bans until 2024.
They're banning the
They're going to
bans?
ban the bans. They're doubling down. They're like, not only can you not take our plastic straws, I am banning you from banning
From
them.
making that even possible.
Even possible. That's
Wow,
remarkable.
That's great.
Florida, you are your own place.
That's next level.
In the United States, I must tip my hat to how much of a unique state you are, because you're another ocean surrounded state. You're much like us in California, another beach.
I mean, they have
cities.
more coast. They've
So
got it on both sides.
It's on both sides.
Yeah.
And that's why they're doubling down. They're saying, no,
Like, no.
we want both sides of the beaches to be ruined and riddled with straws.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
Well, they already have that red algae issue going on down there, so why not just throw some straw?
They want to have some
plastic in there and
straws.
make So is this like is Florida like a Ron Swanson state where like we got all libertarians who are like just don't have the government do anything?
I don't know.
Like, the government should do nothing.
Yes. Okay, so you're onto something here because it says, in the article, it says, calling the banning of plastic straws government overreach, that's in quotes.
Okay.
The Florida State Senator Travis Hudson also amended the bill to create a $25,000 fine for local governments that regulate the material and another ban on municipal regulation of sunscreens that harm coral reefs.
Oh, come on.
So he wants to not only ban bans of straws, but he wants to ban bans of sunscreens that could harm coral reefs. So this is a government overreach. He thinks the government should not regulate sunscreens or straws.
Okay.
So that's his point of view.
Well, I mean, look, as I think people will learn over time on our podcast here.
Come right out and say it.
Yeah, we really endeavor to not be political. We don't think
it's very true.
We don't think that the environment should be a political issue. I think it's been made political.
Yeah.
Because people have taken their sides in what they're going to do and what they're going to go about. But I think that if we're going to ever have a successful environmental program to fix things, we're going to need everybody to sort of find a way that they can get involved, even if it's in a small way.
Right.
So we're not going to try to pick sides.
We here at Biofriendly Planet.
At Biofriendly Planet, whenever possible, we're going to try to avoid that.
Yeah.
And get away. So like if you don't want no government overreach, that's fine. Okay. So then what's
the solution? Right?
So is it education? Are we going to put more money into teaching people what the right answer is? Are we going to maybe reward people for coming up with a better straw? I don't know. Like, is there what's the answer?
Exactly.
Because we don't want I don't want to get into how Florida runs their state. I mean,
exactly.
I wish I were as cool as Ron Swanson.
Yes,
from Parks and Recreation.
I think you are personally.
I need a larger beard.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah,
start growing.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. Let's do this.
I'm in.
Yeah, and then on the other side with California, I mean, if they want to regulate things, then that's California's choice. I'm not going to get all over them either for wanting to be on that. So, but I do think that. I do think it's good that it's at least being talked about, getting into. Like, how can we find ways to get less plastic?
Yes,
in the
I agree, because this
landfills in the water and everything.
To echo what you said, this isn't about policies. This is about solutions.
Yeah,
this is our aim. Is that we clearly have a problem with climate change and what things are happening, and it's up to debate how extreme that is, because sometimes the extreme numbers come our way and it's all dire and we're all going to die.
Right.
And then other climate scientists come along and say, well, actually, if you factor these things in, so there's opinions on both sides. So we want to look at what are the solutions. Okay, so if you're against government overreach, like you said, then maybe we got to come up with something else that helps reduce the straw problem. Right.
Because we all well, I don't know if we all do. You and I have kids.
Right. I have children. Noel has children.
Right. So, and I think that a lot of people do.
Yes.
And at some point, you do kind of think, well, they're gonna have to live somewhere, right?
Right. And everybody's got to go on here for now.
Yeah.
Until we get to Mars.
Until the Tesla fellow,
gets us on another planet.
Elon Musk's us to to Mars or whatever he's going to do. But and I'm not sure that Mars is ever going to have the kind of rainfall we're getting in Los Angeles right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
But until then, we gotta make the place work. So
totally.
So if philosophically you don't like that way of going about it, then I think this is one of the things we want to talk about is how, like, what is, so philosophically, what could we do that makes it so you can get there? And instead of, let's say, having everybody start using peanut oil in their car, what's a little thing you can do? Maybe don't flick the cigarette butt out the window.
Right.
This time.
And that's a perfect example, like what you're talking about. Again, there was another article with regard to the straw debate. Okay. And this was on Mother Nature News.
Nice.
And the topic of this was pushback on straw bans. And this specifically addresses that. What you're talking about, which is a lot of the plastics industry and American Legislative Exchange Council sees government bans as excessive regulation.
Okay.
But on the other side of the argument, plastic straws are a tiny percentage of our overall plastic waste. If their use is banned, will that make a difference when other plastics are still being used freely? One of the reasons the plastic straw bans happen so quickly is that for most people, reducing their use is an easy first step. By educating the public about plastic straws and getting a large percentage of the population to accept this one ban, it opens up the door for acceptance of bans for other types of plastics. So that's exactly what you're saying, which is I think this country and the world sometimes needs little steps to get there.
Absolutely.
We can't go around and force people to completely turn their entire way of living upside down. We have to work with everybody on these little micro changes.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that the straw ban and the way that it seems to be in California is they're not gone.
No.
You just have to
in fact,
ask.
It's kind of a pathetic.
Yeah.
They're
still there.
It's like nobody's actually been banned. I mean, it's in every single restaurant that they use them.
I still see them all the time.
Yeah.
You could still be sitting at Morton's and you can still ask for one scowl.
Get the scowl.
Or whatever you get. I love how he said smirk first. Oh. That's a different reaction.
You like
it's like, you naughty boy.
Wow.
Oh, you must be from Florida. Yeah, from out of town, I see. So I think that that's the right way to handle it, at least initially, which is it's still there. You can ask for it if you want, but maybe we can move towards paper straws that are coated in plastic like Australia. Maybe we can get to a place where nobody even notices anymore, but we have to start somewhere.
Right. We do. We do have to start
somewhere.
Yeah. And I think that on the flip side of that if the issue is that people don't quite get it or they don't know, then let's make it easier for people to learn. Let's not make it so.
Yeah.
You know, I like that we don't have to ridicule people because they're not going to change every habit. Let's be happy that they're willing to look at one, and let's see if we can do things to get a couple more little pieces of information out there, and do it the long way.
It's so rational and well thought out that I think what you're suggesting is preposterous.
And that's why it won't work.
That's why this just might not work. Because
we'll keep trying.
We'll keep trying, and I think that that's the aim of what the did that little chime show up on the podcast too? Did you hear that? Oh no, I'm the only one with headphones on.
I can't.
There was like a computer chime, so that might be in our show too.
Well, thankfully,
the phone ring?
We can edit the podcast so that then the Smithsonian won't know.
I say leave it in there.
Yeah,
it just gives us character.
It does.
But what I was going to say was we live in a climate now, of course, where everybody's hostile. Everybody's on their social medias and they're saying it's my way or it's nothing else.
Right.
And our goal at the Biofriendly Podcast is to not only talk about these world issues, but to address them in a way that makes it where we can all kind of come together.
Yeah.
And we're trying to bring in the right, the left, the different sides and remind people like, okay, I clearly can see that you disagree.
Right.
But what can we agree on? How can we take little steps together?
What's the thing? What can we find? What's the little piece that we can hold on to?
We have to. Because at this point, everybody's reacting like Florida in a way that they're like, I'm going to ban the ban of the ban.
It's like, oh, you're going to ban things?
You're going to ban.
Oh, well,
I'm going to ban your ban.
things.
Yeah, and that's how it is on both sides. It's like, it's literally like everybody's got their fingers in there like, la, 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 la. I'm not listening. And there's just no progress made whatsoever if we can't come together and see the common goal, which is, hey, let's leave a planet behind for at least a couple thousand more years. Couple more thousand.
I feel like some of these kids ought to have a good life,
right?
Like
here's the thing. I think we go as far as great grandchildren. That's as far.
That's it.
5.
And after that, we can all die.
Screw them.
Yeah,
Screw them.
Just to hellfire.
If they haven't figured out something that's better than what we figured out by then,
haven't figured out the wax and the plastic straws by that point,
they need to get off their butts and they need to come up with some solutions. And first of all, listen to our podcast, which is out in the solar system.
Yeah.
Because
it was on Voyager 7
was sent out to
Planet X. I mean, they should be able to hear it by now.
And you should know our generations ahead that we were working to come together. So if you're not,
we were putting the effort in.
If you're not, and the planet is literally 280 degrees, sorry.
I mean, that's on you.
That's on you.
That's what I want to be able to say.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to say, I did my part, you did your part, we did our part, we got it in pretty good shape, and for like 5 or 6 generations, we were rocking.
We were rocking it.
And then when it got to 280 degrees, That's on you.
That's on you. I think that we should. I would like to make a document with you. I would like to make a document that's like a scroll.
Yeah.
That we time capsule.
Okay.
And another
That's
noise.
amazing.
We got it.
So
we have a printer noise.
We are borrowing someone else's office because it's in the back corner of where everything is.
Uh-huh.
And we thought that he wasn't going to be using the office, but apparently in modern technology, or at least modern in our times, not in the future when you're hearing this podcast from the Smithsonian. The printer was
just
actually
getting
a document from a computer that was somewhere totally
That's
out
amazing.
of this office.
That's amazing. We have had now
science.
3 random noises in this podcast to show that we are thinking on our toes.
On our toes.
And that none of this was...
Oh, come on.
I mean...
This is just too much. Oh. Well...
That's when Jacob died.
I feel like we've learned a couple things.
Do you want to see if anyone wants to come in and bang some pots and pans?
Let's just see what happens. Let's just see if it can happen.
Shout Happy New Year. Let's see if some fireworks go off.
Oh, man.
What I was going to say was I want to put in a scroll,
yeah,
like, an ancient scroll. We can time capsule it or we can bequeath it to our 5-6 generations from now.
Yeah.
And I want it to open and say, open in case of Earth reaching 280 degrees. And then when they crack the seal, it's a huge scroll and it says, that's on you. That's all it says.
Scroll.
Just a massive scroll. And in calligraphied writing, they open it up. It says, crack open this document if the Earth has reached, 280 degrees. And then they open it up and it says, that's on you.
That's on you.
And that's it. I think that's the legacy we leave behind generations to come. You on board?
I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm it. So, look, we're talking about 2,000 years. That's all we care about.
Hands down. I'd say that's pretty much.
And that's a lot. That's like 30 generations.
That's a lot of time. Let's talk about it's 2019 now. Yeah. If we're starting the clock at 0, year 0 to now.
Right now.
That's essentially the same amount of time. A lot of stuff has happened since then. Yeah. So we're just saying basically the same amount of time since 0.
Since 0, roughly, give or take. Yeah.
And after that,
and by
you're
then,
on your own, kiddos.
You should have better technology.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Yeah. Or be on another planet by then.
Yeah.
If this planet looks like Wall-E, like the way Earth does in Wall-E, you better have figured out how to get on a cruise ship.
Yeah, you better be on a cruise ship, sipping on sodas.
With
plastic straws.
With plastic straws.
Fat, unable to move.
Plastic straws.
Yeah.
And nobody's scowling at you.
Yeah. I believe that if there's anything you should learn from this podcast, it's that Wall-E is a success story. It's not.
Oh, that should be the title of this episode. Why Wall-E was a success story. Oh my God. No, but that's amazing. Well, I'd say that this has been a successful first podcast. I think this has been great.
Yeah. So drop us a line.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what your thoughts are on straws, right?
Yeah. Tweet us at Biofriendly1.
Right. ONE, not the number.
ONE. Yeah. And you can include the hashtag Biofriendly Podcast, and so we can find you that way. Yeah. But if you got questions or opinions or things you want to share with us about straws, paper or plastic straws, or Florida, or California, or In-N-Out Burger, and how they should have a chicken sandwich. They should
actually have a chicken sandwich.
And you could also talk to us about Florida.
Yeah.
No, I already said that, didn't I?
Well, you really want to know about Florida.
I want to know.
You've got that.
Do.
It's on our little whiteboard, our planning whiteboard we have. Jacob has. I've got to know more about Florida.
I got to know about that mystery state.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things they could?
I think first of all,
Wall-E.
Don't feel definitely tweet us about the
Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Tweet us about Wall-E.
I think if you agree that Wall-E is an environmental success story, then you should definitely tweet us.
Tweet us.
Yeah. I think that the number one thing that we want to encourage is that no matter what your opinions are, no matter how you feel about things, we're not gonna troll you. We're not gonna make fun of you.
That's not the goal.
That's not what we're about. We want to actually hear what you have to say, and find a way to communicate with it in a positive light, or at least to find common ground. So don't be afraid to contact us and let us know what you think about all this stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, and
that's the Biofriendly way.
That's our Biofriendly way.
We have friendly in our title. That's the Biofriendly way. We are here to figure out how to do this and do it in the right way.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, totally.
So I've been your co-host, Jacob Givens.
And I'm Noel Carroll.
And thank you for joining us for the monumentous Smithsonian episode. I got it right at the end of the show.
You did. I don't know
First
if monumentous is right, though. Is monumentous? Monumental?
I think you could. I think
you
monumentous.
Can go either way.
I think you can say monumentous.
Yeah, that's like fearful and afraid.
Yes.
It's a double. You can use either.
And just now, the phone ring is playing us off the air, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again, and tune in next time. Bye-bye.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.